Hello, I just wanted to make a fairly quick video here now that it's fall, now that it might not be so hot anymore here in Phoenix. I did want to do a video for two reasons. One being to show kind of that it's a good time to trim up our roses and get them ready for the cooler temperatures. Now that I think we're going to be out of really hot temperatures, it's a good time to kind of do a trim to the roses, and I have done that here. It's not a hard cutback as we would do in winter, but just getting all the summer junk off. I do have some videos on my channel that shows me pruning and kind of how I do my fall trims, and I can link those below in case you are interested. But in today's video, I did want to show how some of these roses looked before I did my trim to pretty them up. It is quite warm here in Phoenix. We get some of the hottest temperatures in the US, and so the roses don't they do fine in it, but they might not look the best. So I did want to take this opportunity to show you a couple of my roses, getting a couple of different varieties of sunlight levels, and how they looked after summer, just so that if you're new to growing roses here in Phoenix, you will know what is kind of normal and what might be a little too much sunburn, I guess, or a little too much heat. So I am going to, I guess, go back in time now and show you some of these roses before I trim them. So here is the side garden after Phoenix summer. You can see it's quite a mess. They are starting to put on some of these little blooms. When it was really warm out, they kind of, I guess, hibernate or chill. But with the slight drop in temperature, they will start kind of producing some smaller blooms. You can see up close kind of how this rose looks after summer. This is very, very typical. This is just how they end up looking, especially in the warm heat. The foliage will start getting very small. And then I just leave because it's so hot. I tend to not want to deadhead or be outside. And so the rose doesn't look very clean because I have not deadheaded anything in a while. So some of this is likely bug related. But now that it is cooling down, when we do our trim, we'll get a lot of these pests off with our post-summer trim. And I did want to show this guy over here. This one gets a lot of shade where it sits, probably way too much shade actually. And I just wanted to compare some of the other roses that sit in full sun to one that gets quite a bit of shade. And you can see it still has kind of the same summer look to it. So if you are thinking maybe more shade will help, maybe a little bit. But I do think that roses, even though they end up looking pretty, they can look pretty scorched here. When it does start to cool down and it does start to become blooming season for these guys, I think that they do appreciate the full sun more and they end up looking nicer in their peak times. So yeah, just to keep that in mind. And over here, this is in my front, and this one gets a lot of western, evening western sun. And so these ones are probably, even more susceptible to kind of the sun damage. So this is pretty typical of what we are seeing for the summer junk. It's still green and flexible. But this one you can see is very burnt looking. It's still a little bit flexible, so this isn't completely dead. It may or may not die back all the way, but this is the look that you may want to be a little bit more concerned about if you see this on one of your roses. Something in between like this, where it's getting a sunburn, that's usually fine. You can see this cane is a little burnt, but it still has like new growth up here. And this is one cane, and you can see the other canes are living, so this one's kind of a 50-50. Then again over here we have the same kind of thing where it is quite sunburned, and because of that it's lost a lot of the top foliage, but the cane is still springy. And in fact, if you can see, it looks like there is a new growth here, so it is likely just fine. It's just very sunburned. We have this vine is up against a western facing wall, and these CMU blocks are quite common in Phoenix, but they get extremely hot, and so the rose got pretty burnt this year actually. You can see this is a vine that is stringed up on the CMU block, and that most of the canes that are kind of away from the wall have done a lot better than the ones that are up right next to the wall. And something like this is this is dead, so this I'll prune off. But something like this one, it could rebound. We'll see what ends up happening. And you can see there is kind of a new shoot coming off of a particularly troubled looking cane here. The cane doesn't look super great. It looks like probably this top piece has died back, but the bottom piece has just gotten kind of a sunburn, and we do have a new shoot growing off of it, so it is a sign that it is cooling down and the rose is gonna fill back in. Again, some of these canes might just be burnt, and some of them might just die back completely, but some are probably fine and they'll fill back in and they'll start to look better for the season. So this is quite normal, and especially if you're trying to get a rose in Phoenix to grow next to something that's going to radiate heat back on it. Even rocks, having rocks planted around the base of the rose, that can radiate heat back up onto the rose. So that'll cause the conditions to be quite a bit warmer, and you could see a lot more sunburning. So like I said in the beginning of the video, I will be doing a nice little prune to get these back in shape. And if you are afraid and you don't believe that this your rose can kind of rebound and come back for the year, for the fall blooming season, I do have past videos on my channel where I do show fall blooms, and it is the same every summer. The roses look kind of like this, like I've showed you today, and then they turn around and they bloom in the fall for me. And I do have some past videos you could check out for hope for hope for your roses post the Phoenix summer. If this video was helpful, please do like and subscribe. I do have a lot of information about growing roses in very warm, dry climates, as well as some other videos just showing how beautiful roses are. And if you are interested, it does help if you would subscribe and share. So thank you.